And Skip, what do you make of Stefanski and not naming him QB2?
You know, I'm not objective about this, but this was hitting bottom yesterday. This is all-time shameful on the part of Kevin Stefanski. This was Kevin Stefanski pretty much declaring public war on Shedeur, at least Cold War on Shedeur, because he won't even speak Shedeur's name in these interview sessions. It's like Parcells when T.O. was there. He wouldn't even call his name. He just called him the player. Remember that? And this is degenerated into every time he's asked about Shedeur, he just plays dodgeball and with a bunch of non-answers. And yesterday, he wouldn't even go so far as, and I understand your point about maybe it's not a great thing to be the number 2 on the depth chart. Okay, we'll get into that. I understand what you're talking about, but there's just a principle involved here where at least you acknowledge that by default, just by default, Flacco is now gone, Kenny Pickett's now gone, just by default, Shedeur moved up a slot. Yeah, if you want to call him second, you could say that. He's second on the depth chart. I guarantee you Bailey Zappi is now, and they're not putting it up on the website depth chart, but Bailey Zappi's second on the depth chart. I guarantee he'll dress at Pittsburgh and he will be second in command at that position.
You ever see a man so afraid of a shadow that he builds a wall just to keep the light out? That's exactly what's happening in Cleveland right now. Kevin Stefanski, the head coach of the Cleveland Browns, isn't just keeping Shedeur Sanders off the depth chart, he's declaring a silent war. And Skip Bayless didn't hold back. On the arena gridiron, Skip said it plain. Stefanski pretty much declared public war on Shedeur. He refuses to even say the kid's name. He dodges every question about him. When asked if Shedeur's QB2 now that Flacco and Kenny Pickett are gone, Stefanski couldn't even bring himself to admit it. Instead, he hid behind vague coach talk like, "I just want to do what's best for our players." But to Skip, that was code for one thing: keep Shedeur out of the way. And if you've been following this story, it's deeper than football. Skip laid it out like a conspiracy unraveling live on air. He said Stefanski fears Deion Sanders, Shedeur's father, because he knows if Shedeur ever gets that starting job, Deion might take his too. Think about it. The Browns owner, Jimmy Haslam, loves Deion Sanders. They had dinner with him and Shedeur before the draft. There were rumors that Deion's presence alone boosted Shedeur's stock in that meeting. Stefanski knows all that. So now, instead of mentoring a young QB with the potential to change the franchise, he's playing defense off the field, against a family. Skip said it best: "Over my dead body will Shedeur get a shot with this year's Cleveland Browns." Now that's not coaching, that's ego. And when a coach's fear becomes bigger than his vision, you don't just lose games, you lose your locker room. You lose your team. Because let's be real, how does a man justify keeping Shedeur, the most talented QB prospect Cleveland's had in years, out of the conversation entirely? You can feel it in the tone, in every press conference. Stefanski's face when Shedeur was drafted said it all: cold, distant, almost disgusted. He didn't want him. He didn't want Deion. And now he's trying to prove a point: this is my team, not theirs. But at what cost? Because if you're trying that hard to silence someone, maybe it's because you know he's the one everyone's listening to. And Skip's not the only one calling it out. Gilbert Arenas, you know Gil, never one to hold back, jumped right in. He said, "It's like Stefanski's taking this as a personal challenge, trying to show Shedeur that he's not relevant." That's crazy, because let's be honest, Shedeur is the story. He's the reason the cameras are in Berea. The reason the fans are showing up. The reason Cleveland's even being talked about right now. Without Shedeur Sanders, the Browns are just another rebuilding franchise. With him, they're must-see TV. So why would a head coach not embrace that? Why not lean into the energy, the attention, the potential? Gilbert said it himself: if you're scared of Deion, you should be best friends with Shedeur. That's how you play chess. You don't fight the son of a legend, you work with him. You mentor him. You build trust. But Stefanski's doing the opposite. He's alienating the kid, ignoring him in meetings, and avoiding his name like it's bad luck. And Skip's argument hit home for a lot of fans. Because when you look around the league, at how rookies are developed, how young talent is protected, Cleveland feels like it's doing the exact opposite. They're setting Shedeur up not to succeed, but to stumble. Even Tony and Cody on the arena gridiron couldn't defend Stefanski's approach. Tony said it outright. It's a terrible situation for both Shedeur and Dillon Gabriel. Neither one's being protected. Neither is being developed right. And that's where this story turns from drama to danger. Because if you're a head coach, your job is to build quarterbacks, not break them. And right now, it looks like Kevin Stefanski's doing the opposite. What do you think, guys? Is Kevin Stefanski really protecting Shedeur from a bad situation? Or is he protecting himself from a future where Deion Sanders runs the show in Cleveland? Drop your thoughts below. Now, Gilbert's co-host made a solid point too. He said maybe it's better for Shedeur to be QB3 right now, not because he doesn't deserve QB2, but because of how NFL preparation really works. See, when you're the starter, you get every rep in practice. Every play is designed around your strengths. The backup? He gets scraps. A couple of emergency plays on the call sheet, maybe 10 reps all week. And that's not enough for a rookie to shine. So his argument was simple. Throwing Shedeur in as QB2 might actually hurt him, because he wouldn't be getting real preparation, just fake exposure. But then Skip brought up something every Browns fan remembers. Baker Mayfield.
Do you remember Baker Mayfield as a rookie with the Cleveland Browns?
I do.
Do you remember what happened on a Thursday night on the solo NFL stage with Tyrod Taylor as the starting quarterback? I remember it well because it's 14-0 visiting team Sam Darnold's Jets at Cleveland. 14-0, and all of a sudden Tyrod Taylor gets hurt. Late second quarter. Baker Mayfield doesn't have his plays that he's picked that week. He didn't get reps that week. You don't have any. And Baker Mayfield has it. You knew right away. He steps in, and I don't know what plays got called. I don't know if he's changing plays at the line of scrimmage, and they take off. And from that point on, really in just barely over a half's work, he throws for 200 yards, and they outscore the Jets 21-3 and win the game 21-17. That can happen if you have it. Shedeur has it. And I don't disagree with your premise. If you have that quality where Shedeur's going to be a star in this league if anybody ever gives him a shot. If you have that and you get your shot, you just figure it out because you're that good.
Exactly.
It was Thursday Night Football, 2018. The Browns were down 14-0 against the Jets. Tyrod Taylor goes down. No practice reps, no custom playbook. Baker walks in cold and boom, throws for 200 yards in a half, wins the game 21-17. That's what Skip was talking about. He said, if you have it, you just figure it out. Shedeur has it. And you can't teach that. You can't coach swagger. You can't diagram poise. You either have that inner calm when the lights come on, or you don't. And Shedeur Sanders? He's built for that moment. That's what makes this whole thing so frustrating for fans and analysts alike. Because everyone knows he's got it. Everyone feels he's next. Except, apparently, the one man who decides who plays on Sundays. And that's the tragedy here. When ego blinds leadership, talent gets benched, and greatness gets delayed. So let me ask you this. If Baker Mayfield could thrive without reps, without a plan, just pure instinct, why can't Shedeur? Why can't the Browns trust the same magic in a player who's proven time and again that pressure only sharpens him? When Skip finished that story about Baker Mayfield, the room went quiet for a moment. You could almost feel it, that tension, that uncomfortable truth. Because everyone on that panel knew, if Shedeur Sanders ever gets the same shot Baker did, he's not giving that job back. And that's exactly why Kevin Stefanski doesn't want to give him the chance. Gilbert Arenas leaned forward, smirking that knowing smirk. He said, "Man, this ain't even football no more. This is personal." Stefanski's treating this like a challenge, like he's gotta prove Shedeur's not relevant. And honestly, that might be the realest thing said all night. Because think about it, Shedeur isn't just another rookie quarterback. He's Deion Sanders' son. He's the brand, the buzz, the story. He's the reason ESPN, Fox, and social media even talk about the Browns this much. As Gil said, the only reason we care about the Browns right now is because of him. And that's not hate, that's fact. The jerseys, the cameras, the interviews, they're not there for Dillon Gabriel or Kevin Stefanski. They're there because Shedeur Sanders represents something bigger. He's young, confident, unapologetic, and he carries that same magnetic energy that made Deion prime time. So when a coach refuses to acknowledge that, it stops being about football and starts being about control. Because let's be real, if you're scared of a father, why would you punish the son? That's not coaching. That's insecurity, dressed up as leadership. Gilbert went further. He said, "If I know I'm scared of your father, I'd be your best friend. I'd make sure you're comfortable. I'd make sure you love playing for me." He's right, that's chess, not checkers. If Stefanski was smart, he'd realize the only way to protect his job is by aligning himself with Shedeur, not against him. Because if the owner loves Deion, and the fans love Shedeur, there's only one man in that building who's replaceable. And that's the guy pretending not to see what's right in front of him. Gilbert said it plain. If the owner loves him, you just put a target on your back. You should have seen that play already. That's what separates good leaders from great ones: foresight. The ability to read the room before the room turns on you. But Stefanski? He's acting like he's already gone. Like he's swinging his final swing before the lights go out. And it's not just talk, it's visible. You can see it in his interviews, in his answers, in the way he sidesteps anything about Shedeur. It's almost like he's daring Jimmy Haslam to fire him. Gilbert even joked, it's like Stefanski knows he's gone. So he's doing it his way while he can. But here's the irony, the fastest way to save his job might have been the easiest move in the world. Just name Shedeur the backup. That's all the fans wanted. That's all the media expected. That one sentence, "Shedeur's our QB2, could have bought him grace with the city, calm with the media, and maybe even earned him some time with ownership. Instead, he doubled down. And now, the city's against him. The headlines are against him. And the only person who still looks calm in all this chaos is Shedeur Sanders. Gilbert's co-host said it best, "Shedeur's smiling, chilling, because he knows." And that line hit hard, because it paints a picture, Shedeur sitting back, quiet confidence, no complaints, no drama, just patience. He's seen this before. He's lived in the spotlight since high school. He knows how the politics of football work. And when Gilbert said only pure hate explains Stefanski's actions, it wasn't hyperbole, it was observation. The draft day footage told the story. When Shedeur's name got called, Stefanski's face looked like he'd been forced into it. No excitement, no vision, no plan. Just resentment. And that resentment's been leaking ever since. But hate can't hide forever, not when talent's this loud. Because every day Shedeur walks into that building, every time he throws in practice, every time a camera catches his composure, he's proving Stefanski wrong without saying a word. And Gilbert knows that too. He said, he don't like Shedeur's aura. He just don't like him. That's a strong accusation, but it tracks. Because if this were about performance, the numbers wouldn't lie. Shedeur's accuracy, his reads, his leadership, they're all there. Every scout who's seen him says the same thing. The kid's got it. So why ignore that? Because sometimes in sports, and especially in NFL politics, power matters more than performance. Stefanski's fighting a battle that can't be won. The city's already chosen its hero. The media's already chosen its storyline. And the locker room? They're watching closely. Because players notice things like this. They see who's getting respect, who's not. And when the coach's ego gets in the way of the best guy playing, that's when teams start to fracture. What do you think, Cleveland fans? Should Stefanski swallow his pride and name Shedeur the backup just to save his job? Or has this war already gone too far for peace? Comment your take below. Now, here's where things get even more poetic. Because while Stefanski's digging in, Shedeur's playing the long game. He knows what time it is. He knows the owner's already told him, you'll get your shot. So why rush it? Why fight a losing battle when time's on your side? That's the beauty of patience. Shedeur's not begging for headlines. He's not complaining about reps. He's not snapping back at the media. He's just working. Quietly. Steadily. With that same calm that's always set him apart. And Gilbert Arenas pointed it out perfectly. He's staying prepared, keeping that smile, doing what he's always done. That's what makes this whole story so compelling. Because while Stefanski's out here playing emotional checkers, Shedeur's playing championship chess. He knows eventually, when the losses pile up, when the fans turn, when the ownership starts asking questions, the only logical move left will be him. And when that day comes, it won't just be redemption, it'll be vindication. Because every time they've tried to bury Shedeur Sanders, he's found a way to grow through the dirt. And when that moment arrives, when he finally takes that first snap under the lights in Cleveland, you can bet every single person who doubted him will be watching. Skip Bayless said it himself, "If you've got it, you figure it out." And Shedeur's been figuring it out his entire life. From Jackson State to Colorado, from criticism to chaos, he's always been the calm inside the storm. And that's why this story matters. Because this isn't just about a coach and a quarterback, it's about pride versus potential, fear versus faith, power versus purpose. And when those collide in the NFL, something explosive always happens. What happens next, Gridiron Nation? Does Jimmy Haslam step in and force Stefanski's hand? Or will Shedeur have to wait for fate and another loss or two to get his shot? Drop your predictions below. So as this drama unfolds in Cleveland, remember one thing: silence doesn't mean surrender. Sometimes the calmest man in the room is just waiting for everyone else to make their mistakes. And when that moment comes, Shedeur Sanders won't need anyone to say his name. He'll make the whole league remember it. This is Gridiron Insights, your home for truth, controversy, and everything they don't want you to say about the NFL. If you're riding with Shedeur, hit that like button, smash subscribe, and drop a fire in the comments if you believe his time is coming. Because when it does, we'll be right here to break it all down. This is Gridiron Insights, where the game meets the truth.